And so I think, again, encouragement is the way to go. Support is the way to go. Um, Not nagging, but sometimes making suggestions of, oh, I saw this video. You should check it out. Something like that can be very helpful, but ultimately it's going to be up to the tobacco user to take the steps to do what they're going to do. I was working in tobacco prevention and control when my husband passed away. So, while I was out working with the community, the same thing was going on in my own home, but I also recognized that I was, powerless over um the addiction in my loved one. However, listening to some very powerful testimony and videos from the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council at home and how the tobacco industry has historically targeted the Black community is what empowered my husband to even start the steps to want to quit using tobacco. That was what lit the fire to, unfortunately it was didn't turn out well for him, but the fact that, I mean, it wasn't even a thought. He wasn't even thinking about quitting, but prior to that. And so I think that was a really encouraging thing for him. I think when people learn about how they've been taken advantage of, it can be very powerful. Um, and a powerful piece of having someone take action in the steps, to fight for themselves and to get well. And so I think that is a really important piece of the puzzle too.
Well, I don't even know what to say after that. I'm really sorry to hear about your husband and loss. Yeah, because and I understand. I've been there with my aunt when I was younger. I remember she would smoke, and it was it became like an identity with her. Like that was just her. I knew Aunt Betty would always have a cigarette, and she was from North Carolina, where tobacco reigned supreme, and that was what they did. Everybody worked at the tobacco companies, and it's yeah, it's really tough. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that story, and I know that he's grateful that you're continuing this work so that other people won't have to suffer the way that he did and go through that addiction. And as you mentioned earlier, 7,000 chemicals are in what they're smoking now. It's not the same tobacco of years ago. So it's a battle. And to have the support of people like you and other people around it, we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to, before we go here, mention some of the tools that are out there that people can use if they are interested in quitting. Every state has a smokers helpline that they can call, um, that you can get support if you're interested in quitting. I will also make the suggestion of the Spiral Up Light app, which is an app that you can download on your phone for free. It has to do with emotional brain training and dealing with stress, which is a huge underlying issue for all of us, but can be a big trigger for tobacco users. Um, Another couple of things I'll mention is there is such a thing as Nicotine Anonymous, so you don't have to go through a quit journey alone. You can get support through joining a Nicotine Anonymous. I believe they have virtual meetings that you can attend as well. And then also there are closed groups and support groups on different social media platforms, which I have heard from people on quit journeys as being very helpful to them as well. Whenever they feel triggered, whether that's drinking coffee or eating a meal, when they're used to picking up and smoking a cigarette or whatever that they do, they can reach out to the group and then get a lot of encouragement and support for people to help them from picking that cigarette or pipe or whatever it is that they're smoking back up again. And so that's been a really helpful tool for folks as well. And so those are just some of the things. There are other programs out there, depending on where you live, where you can get free nicotine replacement therapy. Some insurance providers cover it as well. So there is a lot of resources out there for people to get some support if they're interested in quitting. And again, if you're a loved one, it is really hard to watch people that we love and care about do something that we know is hurting them. It is so hard. But, and this is kind of a funny thing to say, but it's so true. When was the last time that anybody you've told to calm down has actually calmed down or relax? People like to say relax. Usually, whoever's on the receiving end of that relax or calm down just gets more worked up about whatever else is going on. And I feel like with nicotine users, it's the same thing. Every time you tell you need to quit doing that, you're hurting yourself, you're killing yourself, you're doing this, you're doing that. It becomes like, I know, but right, it's a not a great reaction. Sometimes I think it almost contributes. So I feel like the more that we can be encouraging and supportive, and less judgmental towards people who are addicted to these products, the more progress we can have. And that's the thing is there's been some different policies and things that have passed that sort of like punish the smokers. And we don't want to do that. That's not something that we want to promote. We have to understand that they've been victimized by a very powerful multi-billion, probably trillion-dollar industry at this point who has done everything that they can in their power to create and place these products in specific places for people to use. It was designed just for them. And that is not their fault, right? And we have to remember that piece and always place blame where blame is warranted. And we look to the tobacco industry for that blame of capitalizing off these products when used as intended kill people. So I think that's about it. Do you have anything else you want to ask me, Cherise?
But just wanted to mention that as far as the Spiral Up Light app, we
Mhm.
actually did the rollout or the how do I say it? The informational guide through our e-zine. So you may have seen it. That we worked with Dr. Val and I believe it was Dr. Lerner to put together everything. And so I'll include that in our story here. And then also for the Nicotine Anonymous, I ran across a book that they had online and featured that book as one of our suggested readings. So I'm glad that you mentioned those options because it's good to have some validation that these are options that people can actually use. But I am interested for the closed groups and support groups that are online, how would people find those?
So you can do a search, really. And most of them have like a little thing where you can ask to join, and it will ask you a couple of questions.
Like on
Because
Facebook or
they're
something
they're
like
trying
that?
to be careful that people aren't being kind of like not necessarily Zoom bombers, but group bombers, if you will. And then also there are some various different organizations that will connect you to their own social network infrastructure. I know that Truth Initiative is one of them for young people where they do have like an internal social network where people can get support, especially if they're trying to quit vaping.
My apologies. I was just looking just to make sure that I had the correct name for the researcher for the spiral of light. Um, right. Was it Dr. Murner or?
Was it Lou Warner?
Yeah, I believe so. No, actually, I'll find it in but yeah, but I know that she was the actual one who oh Laurel Dr. Laurel Mellon, Dr. Laurel Mellon.
Oh, yes. Who
Mm-hmm.
created the,
And created the
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
emotional brain training. Yes.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, but I think that covers everything. Is there anything else that you'd like to share in regards to your training or UCSF or anything? Is how people can get involved?
I think the only other thing I would like to share about it is that it's free, which is the best
Thank
part.
you. That's what I wanted to mention too.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's free. You can contact us anytime and we will set up a time and we will come and do it. It's at no cost to you or your organization. The other thing I'll say is that if folks are already working in the space of tobacco cessation or prevention or policy, we also can help with onboarding new staff. So that is something that I've done for a couple of organizations. Some of our other TATs do too, where we can just come in and do like a tobacco 101. We can talk about the different funding sources that are out there, the different, policies that have passed in the state of California or other areas, and just kind of how they affect the work that we do. And it kind of is a quick way to pull in a lot of information and also share a lot of resources where people can go to get data and things like that. So that's also another option of something that we do, or kind of all across the board. We've got different technical assistance trainers um, that can come in and kind of meet whatever need you might have in this space. And it's absolutely free.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
yeah. And
That's
I
all for
think that's it.
that's it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Alex. We appreciate your time and look forward to your classes and some of our readers reaching out to you just prepare for that. So
Yeah, I look forward to
uh
it. I'd love to hear from people.
yeah,
Great.
thank you. Thank you so much for your time and all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
So you just heard from Alex Winston, who is one of the awesome trainers from the Loop at the University of California in San Francisco. And we're so honored that she was able to share her story with us and her why for doing this, and also learn some more about the resources that are available. And we chatted a bit more offline, and I did want to mention something that she said that was very pivotal and pivotal, and it was one of my biggest takeaways from my conversation with her. And I'm sure that you'll get a lot of that once you sign up for training and with Godfrey Ramos. And we'll include his information as well so that you can contact them to set up a training. But what she said is that encouragement goes a lot longer or further, it goes a lot further than passing judgment on someone who's smoking. And that the average amount of quit attempts is 30 before they actually quit. So that's something to keep in mind when you're working with a person who smokes, or if you're training or teaching others to work with people who smoke, or whatever your capacity is in this. And just tell them to keep going, be the encourager in the situation. And so you can teach, you can encourage. There's so many different ways that you can get the message across, and also be creative and include people who have stopped smoking as well, so that they can be a voice to or voice to the words of like, stop smoking, but see someone who actually has gone through that process. That helps as well. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. We're here for you if you have any questions or if you have any feedback about the content that we provide, uh, and the stories that we share and so forth. Definitely feel free to reach out to either Dr. Karen Beard at drbeard@amplify.love, or you can also I'll give her a phone call. I'll include all of her information as well. Thanks so much for your time, and we look forward to talking more with you or seeing you next month.